This is Lamar Fields, aka Boykin Anthony, and you're in the house with House of Wax. Gang.
Wax here with House of Wax, with a good friend I grew up with, Lamar Fields. He's in acting. He's done some singing, some movies, locally. He's even, gone to California for school of acting and did some seminars. And he's sitting down today with us to do some interview work. And we're going to, dive into his career and see how, acting and music plays a big role in his life. So, tell me a little about yourself a little bit.
Good morning, y'all. My name's Lamar Fields. Stage name, acting name is Boykin Anthony. I took my dad's name. Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Big deal, after my father passed, that was a big deal for me, a way to honor him. Yes, like you said, I've done a lot in entertainment, acting. I was in a singing group, did a lot of singing. Rapping, was also a rapper. Rap name was Tequest. A lot of people know me by Tequest or Quest. Beat making, I actually, went to school in New York for music. Like I said, went to school in Cali for acting. Haven't done, just locally. I did a movie in New York. I did some stuff in Atlanta. I did some plays in Ohio, Kentucky. So a little bit around the country. I'm a little seasoned. A little Lowry.
So, what made you get into acting?
So, I'm not sure if you remember. When we were around 15, 16, I did some plays. Early days of Peabody. Okay. Early days of high school. With Ozanam. I don't remember Ozanam on the Hill. Mm-hmm. They had a program called Wings for Success. And what they would do is they would hire inner city kids, to rehearse and perform plays. Right. So it was really like a first job. Because you got a check, you got paid every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So that it was a big deal. A lot of my friends was doing it. Aaron and my friend James and a lot of kids that I knew from Kappa, they were doing these plays and got me interested. The opportunity. They got all these opportunities. They were going places they would take the kids to a camp and they would have to for rehearsals. It was just, so it really got me interested in it. To the point where the following year when they did it again, I just went to just go see what was going on. I went with them. They went to go audition. I was just there to pretty much just be in the mix, right? But it just so happened that because I was there, I got talked into auditioning. Okay. Never auditioned for anything. Never, we're younger. You do goofy house skits. My sister and my cousin, we'd put skits on at home, and I was always the dog or the cat. That would be my role. But I do it to the fullest. So that was the extent of any acting experience that I had. Right. But the opportunity was there. Like I said, a lot of my friends were kids who went to Kappa for acting, for musical theater and stuff like that and everything. So because I was there, they're like, "Oh, you should try. So I gave it a shot. I went in. I signed up the audition. I went in, and I didn't know nothing about monologues. I didn't know anything about. There weren't any. Sides to audition with and everything, but what the director did was he gave me a few words to say, right? But he had me do it in different scenarios. So he was like, do it like you're sad, or do it like somebody stole your last dollar, or so it was like he had me going through all these emotions, all these different ranges of emotions, and just from that audition alone, I got the lead role in the play. First time ever. Right. You know what I'm saying? First time ever. So it was a big deal, so much so that I went back a second time. I did another play, Didn't get the lead in that, but it was just the fact of the opportunity to do, so that kind of put the buzz in me, but it didn't push me to love it so much that I pursued it.
Right.
Music was always my first love. From the beginning, my mother sang, my dad played drums, my sister sang, my cousins sang, family sang, so that was, music was always, so I was more so pushing for a musical career than acting. Like I said, singing transitioned into rapping transitioned into making music, and I ended up going to school in New York for audio engineering and music production. I went to the Institute of Audio Research in Manhattan, and while I was there, learning the ins and outs of the music business in the place where it happens, New York. I'm in New York. So, and I'm learning I'm getting this education you don't get here in Pittsburgh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm learning the things that we don't see on the outside. Now I'm on it, I'm not only am I taking classes where I'm learning how to run studio equipment, but I'm taking classes on the business of music.
Right.
I'm reading these books and I'm getting this knowledge, and it's just like the more and more educated I'm becoming, the more and more I start to pull away from music.
Okay.
The more my love for music becomes a love-hate relationship.
So like diving into like the music part, do you think music helped you in acting?
It did because transitioning from music, going from that love-hate, it pushed me towards back to acting. And when I finally got an opportunity to do some real acting after I moved back to Pittsburgh from New York, it came by way of theater.
Right.
And being that I had a lot of experience in performing from music, being on stage with music, between that time that I did those 2 plays and the time that I began to work with Kuntu, I was still able to, how do I want to put it, express what I needed to express on stage. A lot of people,
stage presence and everything.
Right, stage presence, exactly. Like a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, when you're just starting out, it's like you really don't know. You don't know how to utilize the stage,
like
or
upstage, backstage.
Right, exactly. So it was like I still had a lot of that knowledge going into it, but I was still green.
Right.
I was still green. There was still a lot I needed to learn, but the one thing that I did have was stage presence. I did know how to work the stage.
Right.
Now everything else was a journey. So
music being like your first love before acting.
Mm-hmm.
So like, where does music today, like how do you think, it fits in your life today?
Music is like therapy. Music is like that love that'll always be there for you. You know what I'm saying? Like music is it's like that person that you can always go back to no matter what happens, and they'll be like, it's okay.
Right.
Here, take this hug, listen to these words and shake it off. So it's like there's a lot of music that I'll listen to that will help me get through an issue, so that way that I can move forward to the next step.
Okay.
And music, it plays a big part in my life. I may not be doing music, I may not be rapping. I've gotten back into singing a little bit,
right.
Taking classes and everything. But it's still a big part of my life. It still plays, it has a huge presence to where it's like, we may not be doing business,
Right.
but you still my friend. You know what I'm saying?
right.
You still my homie. You know what I'm saying? I'm still hang out with you, but you know what I'm saying? I can't work with you no more. You know, it's that type of thing.
right.
You know, so.
So all right, so I got 3 things I'm gonna show you,
Uh-oh.
and I want you gotta give me one sentence of what it means to you. All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it. Whew. Souls of Mischief, 93 till infinity.
What do you
Believe
think
it or not-
What do you think we see that?
Believe it or not, you know, well, first I think about actually the beginning of I guess I could say my rap career.
Okay.
This is around the time that it really truly started to blossom. Like I started to dabble in it back in like 91, you know, just freestyling and, you know, but around 93 is really when it began to become an everyday thing, you know, Days of the Wall at Peabody,
yeah, the Wall.
you know, the Wall, you know, and hanging out with those cats and you know, some of us would be backpacking and freestyling and, you know, just, you know, but here's something that you didn't know that I didn't know about this album. This kid here, Tajay,
Yeah.
that's my cousin.
Get out of here.
That's my cousin right there. Never knew he was related. I was related to him. Never knew he was family.
That's
Didn't find out till I was an adult. I'm jamming to his music. You know what I'm saying?
family value.
Family,
Don't even
right?
know it.
Don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? So that album,
Means something.
it really means something. Like it meant a lot, you know, when it came out because it's like, okay, I relate to these dudes.
Right.
Even though they from Oakland, California,
Right.
all the way on the other side of the map, it was still relatable. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then as an adult, I found out my cousins in the group. It's like
he fam.
crazy.
But what's crazy about it is, like, we go back probably like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I grabbed 3 albums that I knew would mean something to him, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
So we got 2 more. We're gonna say the last one for last. Don't be looking.
Oh, okay.
Bow. What you know about that? What you know about that?
Ooh, Low End Theory.
All right. So what you got?
So, this album is a big deal because, you know, I've always been a Native Tongue fan. You know, it began with De La,
Right.
you know, and Jungle Brothers, and you know, and then you know, really with Trap.
Chiali.
But Chiali, right? You know, but this album here, to me, a lot of people think that, you know, will express that Midnight Marauders is their best album.
Right.
You know, I love Midnight Marauders, but I think Low End Theory is their best album because of the impact it made.
Right. To follow up.
The follow, you know, this is their sophomore album,
that's the
right? This is their
follow-up.
sophomore album.
Follow-up.
So it's like a lot of times groups or artists, their sophomore album isn't as strong
Right.
as their first
They
album.
put everything they had into that first.
Right. This one, man, it when it dropped, when it hit, it was just like, yo, these
Changed.
cats are serious. Like they're the real deal. Like, you know,
De La. His name's
right.
De La.
Right. And then, you know, a lot of people don't know, like, the reason I started rapping was because of Busta Rhymes, leader of the New School. I seen them on In Living Color.
Right,
They were the special musical guests on In Living Color, and seeing Busta was what made me want to rap.
Right.
So it's like hearing this album and then getting to Scenario, and it's like, yo, like,
Affiliated
so it's like
everything.
this album really like solidified the fact that I'm like, yeah, yo, I want to rap, yo, like this is what I want to do, yo, like
Told y'all.
I mean, it's man, that's history right there. That's just, you know, and I still bang this music to today. That's the thing. Like, a lot of this music might be old, but it's still relevant.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah,
not it's not outdated.
Right.
It's just it came out 30 years ago.
And it's still talking about some of the
But it's
stuff going
still
on
right.
today.
It's still relevant today. It's still necessary today. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, they're like, oh, that music's old now, but it's still necessary. If you listen to it, the message is still, it still has something to do with what's going on now.
All right, we got one last record.
This
This one is in his wheelhouse, and I know, I know it's just gonna take him back.
Oh man, that Tevin Kevin, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
You know
dog.
what?
I'm
Really,
ready.
really, like this was a great album. Great song.
Ahead of his time.
He was definitely ahead of his time. Tevin Campbell was the kid everybody in performing arts school wanted to be.
Yep.
But this album, dope. But the one that was really the kicker, that you if you'd have really did it, that it would have been phenomenal, is Tomorrow.
Okay.
But that was on the Quincy Jones
Soundtrack,
You know,
right.
it's Quincy Jones soundtrack. That song, it changed. It changed. Yeah. Like I said, like you said, Tevin Campbell was before his time. So that one set this one up.
Right.
It's like, so when I'm Ready came out, everybody's like, yo, I'm ready. Like, you know what I'm saying? Word, I'm ready. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, this album was
It was a soundtrack. For
but
a
it was
long time,
because it was during the era of when I was singing. You know, I was in a 5-man a cappella singing group. So this album was a part of that journey, right? Yeah, it was like you know, even though he was a solo artist, a lot of us would add harmonies to the chorus or parts of the vocals. You know what I'm saying? So it was like being able to take something this great and in our mind make it greater was dope, man. I just got all the what's that, Japanese writing on it?
Yeah,
Japanese. That's the bootleg version.
That's the Japanese pressing. Go ahead. I'm talking about stuff. So, what I'm gonna ask now is now that artists are starting to be artists like singers, actors, everybody's starting to be a little bit more transparent with their careers. Like seeing that mental health is affecting actors and musicians and things like that, like the Kurt Cobains and stuff like that, people who have passed away. But mental health not being new, but now that it's being shared. Have you ever been in a place where you might have some anxiety or some depression, and has a certain role or a certain song ever helped you out of that?
Yeah. The crazy thing is a lot of the times, a lot of us don't know that we're depressed, don't know that we're going through stuff like that. But when you finally acknowledge it or you understand it, you realize it. Having things like outlets like acting or music, it definitely helps. There's been times where I've been going through something and I'll throw in a song. One of the songs that really helps me to get through something, get my emotions out, cleanse myself of the pressures and the stress that I'm going through that is pushing me into depression is You Will Know.
Okay.
Black Men United. I don't know if you remember that song.
Yep.
Man, that song. I mean, that song brings me to tears. And that's the one thing as men, especially as black men, being able to cry and get that out is a huge thing, because we're not supposed to be vulnerable like that. We're not supposed to be weak like that. Walk it off, throw some dirt on it.
Yeah,
you'll be okay. But it's like songs like You Will Know.
So mine is PM Dawn.
Okay, yeah. Or that especially Die Without You. Die Without You is a powerful song. As much backlash and ridicule that PM Dawn got, that song is that song is so intense and so. Man, that's a great song.
I would say it's so powerful that nobody's ever tried to redo it.
Yeah.
Nobody's touched
Yeah.
it. Even Tevin Campbell stuff, like
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
tries to touch it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, a lot of that's Prince. But
I'm saying,
Yeah.
but can't nobody hit that note.
right.
Can't nobody
So-
hit that note. So
But here's you asked about it, like, has a role ever taken me out of it, being I've had moments where acting's given me anxiety. Recently actually I was casted in a play a few months back. It was back in maybe like February. And I got the role. They sent me the script. And as I'm reading the script, like, I could feel my heart start racing. I'm just getting like, start sweating, and I'm just like, I just got so much anxiety reading it. And I had to tell the people, like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do it. Like, it had been so long since I did any theater.
Right.
Like, I did some film, some television work, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that, and what a lot of people don't know, is theater is harder than film.
Right.
Theater's,
Live,
yeah,
it's in your face.
it's in your
No
face.
mistakes,
It's
right.
You know what I'm saying?
No edit.
And it had been a while since I've been on the stage, and something about stepping back into that at that moment.
So green again.
It did, yeah. It just gave me crazy anxiety to where I was just like, I can't do this. I know that the best thing for me to do is to walk away.
Right.
Because most people, I'm gonna push through, I'm gonna try to push through, right. And then that's what really messes you up and makes things even worse and
right.
brings more stress on. So I was like, and that's, like I said, that's another thing about knowing.
Right.
Because if you don't know, you're going to try to, I could do this, and,
Right.
and all
Know
of a
your
sudden,
limits. Know your limitations.
Know your limitations,
Know your
right?
limitations.
Exactly.
So, like, since you've had a decent career in acting, music, you've traveled all over the place, and what you know now, if you were able to talk to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself?
If I could go back with all the knowledge that I have now, I'll probably say to maybe like my 15-year-old self, 16-year-old self, I'd say go to Kappa, pursue acting. Knowing that this would be the position I'm in, get that education, because it's important. Not to the point where education always gets you to where you want to be, because we know some of the biggest stars dropped out of high school. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z, right. And you know what I'm saying? Multi-millionaires, billionaires,
right.
Didn't finish high school.
Right.
So, it isn't always that,
Well, education is always something different too. It's It doesn't always have to be school. It
right.
Can be,
right.
Just getting the
knowledge, the experience. Right. Exactly. And I do learn. I learn better hands-on.
Right.
But I would tell myself, go to Kappa.
Right.
Go to
right.
Go to college, CMU, whatever. Because again, like I said, it's not always about the education, but it is about what's on your resume.
Right.
There's a lot of people who got the opportunities that they got because of what's on their resume
and
who they know.
Right.
Having certain things on the resume makes it a big deal.
Right.
Makes it a big deal. Some of the worst actors went to some of the best schools,
right.
And they're in the position that they're in because they had that on their resume. So that's what I would tell my younger self. Go to school. Take the path, the right path, to get to this point.
Right.
So
we're gonna wrap it up. We're here at Jerry's. We want to thank Jerry's Records for letting us use the space here in Pittsburgh, Square Hill, PA. I want to thank Lamar Fields for taking time out of his busy schedule. He got some other stuff that he's doing, going to a premiere of a friend, some singing and some stuff. So we're going to have a part 2 to this. We're going to bring his former group, that he sang with and whatever, and ask some more questions or whatever. So I want to thank you guys for supporting us, everything you're doing,
Thank
our
you.
sponsors and everything, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Peace.